What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Street Bob Build series, and we are on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, part 7. But just to recap for those who haven't been following along, we have our LA chopper bars that we threw on there, the cage fighters, Legend suspension, Thunder header exhaust, Vance & Hines tuner, Advan Black ST fairing, and Advan Black ST lower fairings, lower fairings. Today though, for part 7, we are going to be modifying Seth's Fender. We're going to put a Custom Dynamics license plate relocation kit on there, which will actually mount it right here. Should look pretty nice. That's also going to eliminate the blinkers, but we're going to replace those blinkers with a much smaller blinker because we want to try to get as much light in the back as we can. So it's going to be kind of a custom process for you guys today. 1, we have to run the wiring. 2, we have to get different hardware, but that's all going to be dependent on what you guys are putting on. Let's get right into it. Okay, briefly, before we get started into, as you guys saw, I already took apart my Fender and it's off the bike. So I wanted to show you what we did. Just to quickly explain, we have 4 bolts. There's gonna be 2 here and 2 on this side. You're just gonna take those off. And then you also have 3 different connections that plug in right here. Those are for your blinkers, your tail, and your license plate light. Once you unplug those and unbolt those, you just pull the Fender all together out. And over here, if you look at the table, you'll see what I'm referring to. These connect to that portion, and that is how you pull off your entire rear fender in one piece. So let's get into the rest of it. All right, guys, like I said, I'm going to walk you through this. So I have my Fender right here on the table in front, and we're going to start by taking it apart by pulling out these 2 bolts on the outside on both, and then there's going to be a bolt on the inside, which I guess I can show you real quick. You can see that 3rd one that's on this right side here. So once we get that done, we will pull the wiring out and we'll go from there. I'm going to show you guys also how to run the wiring for the Custom Dynamics plate. I've tried looking up some good information, but there's not anything that's real straightforward for M8 motors or M8 Softails. So I'll show you guys that when we get there. But first, let's pull these out. On this back side where the bracket is, you're going to want to hold on to that. Otherwise, it'll slide up and down inside there. It's not a big deal. It just may scratch the inside, but it's easier if you hold it with your hand. I'll show you guys what I was talking about. This is that bracket that's on the back side. It just sits in place. And I'm going to go ahead and flip this upside down like this. Hold on to this when you're doing it because you don't want this to slide on your paint. So I'm going to keep my hands right here, but as you can see, I'm bracing this other brace right here. We don't want to have that scratch up your paint. It's going to separate, but we still have our wiring, which is right here, and that's going to go, it runs through the inside of this little frame here. For now, I'm going to just go ahead and set that there, and then I'm going to pop these out. Went ahead and remove the wires from their little pieces that were securing them to the Fender, and we'll separate this guy right over here. Set it down for now. I'll come back to it because now we're going to do the opposite side. All right, pull it off nice. Set that aside. Pull out my bracket to hold for later. Now you guys can see there's nothing there. It's all cleaned out. So there's a little access hole right here, and I'm actually going to end up running my wires on the inside, and then they're going to pop out right here, run down the frame, and go to where they plug in normally. He doesn't want this little reflector on there anymore, so we're going to go ahead and pull that on. It's just an adhesive. I'm probably going to use something to get underneath there and pull the rest of it off. So I'm going to go ahead and set the Fender aside now that I have it cleaned off, just for a second, and then we'll come back to this when we do the drilling. So I'm going to go ahead and separate these wires here just so I can work with them. I did mark which one's left so I know which line to follow when I'm running my left blinkers and right blinkers. In our case, we are not going to be putting back the stock lights on. We are going to eliminate these, replace them with a smaller light, and then also replace them with the blinkers that are built into the license plate holder. So I'm going to pull these off, but I'm also going to snip my wires right here because I'm going to keep this the length. I'm going to try to wire to the back of these wires instead of separate ones. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and pull off the blinker here. And that's how we pull off our blinkers. So once you pull all the lights out and you disconnect everything, you're left with these pieces right here. and that is how they're gonna stay. We're not putting anything on them, so I'm gonna go ahead and take them off screen and bring back the fender. If you're not gonna be clipping off the rear end lights, then you're gonna do your wiring back where they plug in, and I'll still show you what colors to use and how to do it. But for us, we're gonna use this wiring for our new tail lights. So this is the no going back point. We are going to be drilling into Seth's fender, and there is no going back once we do that. However, honestly, once you guys make that decision, you already knew you wanted to do it, so there's no big deal. So we're gonna go ahead and I'm gonna lay some tape down here so that I can drill nice and neat. Plus, when I put my plate relocation on there, I want to kind of adjust it, and I don't want to scratch the paint, so I'm going to throw down some tape real quick. Went ahead and set this up. I already marked out my holes on here, put some tape down. How we did it was we decided to draw out a middle line, and then we lined this up to where Seth kind of liked it, what he wanted, and then just marked the holes. So that's how we're going to do it. I'm going to drill it out now. Before you guys drill, you're going to want to make sure you punch your area where you're going to put the drill bit, because last thing you want is to accidentally slip, and then you have a big problem. So I'm going to go ahead and use this punch here and punch out my hole. No going back now. Now to drill, we're going to take the small bit first, just to get the first hole going, and then I'll go ahead and size up. I don't have to go up as much as you think, because these are the screws that we're going to be using, and they're actually really thin, so that's a nice thing. All right, so we got the holes drilled out. We're going to go ahead and file these to make them look or be smooth. Well, there we go. Got her on there. Now we just got to pop the tape off and secure it down. Not bad. But you guys can see the wire is going to come through the back, and then I'm going to run this wire up along here, and we'll go from there. But for now, we're going to take this all apart and start doing the wiring. So we got the tape off of there. You guys can see the little holes that we have. I would recommend putting some kind of maybe a clear coat, or if you have some touch-up paint on these holes so that they don't rust up. We're going to come back and add some stuff here in a little while, so we're going to do that later. And also, I just don't happen to have any clear coat or red paint on hand, so not a good excuse. But for you guys, if you have it or you're watching this video to prepare, get some touch-up paint for that exact reason. So we're going to go ahead and throw Seth's plate on there. Now what I'm going to do, this is an idea I had. I already notched out his plate so it'll fit where this wire comes in. I'm going to put the plate in there, and then my plan is to actually use a little rubber grommet that I went and bought from, I think I got this one from Home Depot in like a kit. But basically I want to put this on the back so that it sticks up just enough to where it's not sitting on the paint. I doubt Seth will ever pull these off, but you know, if he does, then I don't have to worry about the paint being all scratched. Plus it'll look clean. I do want to show you guys this up close. So those washers that I used kind of separated the plate just enough, and I really like the way that looks. It's not touching, but it's very close. So I'm gonna go ahead and tighten these up, and then we'll move on to the wiring portion, and we'll be able to put this baby back together. Guys, I did all the hard work on this one. I watched a few videos and I read their instructions, and normally I don't say instructions are crap. Just kidding, you know I do. These instructions though really don't help one bit. So I went through and I did the hard work for you guys to simplify this as much as I can. So this is specifically if you're putting this on a street bob. If you're gonna do it on something different, it's probably gonna be the same on Harley because they run the same wires in the newer bikes. So if you're looking at your wires as they come out from the bike here, you have your right and your left wire harness. They're gonna be the same colors. You end up with a black, a purple, and a blue. The black obviously is gonna be your ground, the purple is your blinker or your brake light, and then the blue is running. Now that's gonna cause a few questions when you're looking at these wires that they have, because the way they have it set up from Custom Dynamics is the lights do specific things. They even give us some adapters to use. I did try playing around with the adapter, but the adapter didn't work the way we wanted. So I'll show you exactly what ours look like, and if it's something that you want to do, I'll explain how to do it the same way. So bike is on right now. This will always be running. This is going to be our running light always. On the light here, the light's going to be always running. Now when we hit the brakes, both of your brakes will come on. It's going to be the side. When I hit the right turn signal will come on. When I hit the left turn signal will come on. But that's exactly how we're going to do it. I would have loved to have this also be a brake light, but there would have been a lot more wiring to do, and I kind of wanted to simplify this down. So I'm going to read this off here so that you guys can have it, and I'll put it on the screen, but then I'll also show a couple close-ups. So the purple wire coming from your license plate is going to be the left blinker wire, or the brake wire for the left side. The red is going to be the bottom. Brown is your right blinker. The white is the license plate. And then you will have a black. You'll have two blacks, but they're both ground, so you can put them to the same one. So again, I will put that up on the screen. It's probably still up there, so you guys can kind of look through that and have that in mind. That way you know right off the bat. Now, when it comes to how we wired this in, let me zoom in the camera real quick and I'll show you guys what we're looking at here. To start, everything is plugged right back into the factory spot, and I pulled these out. Now, you can use different wires once you run this. You can actually pull these wires over here and run them into here. You can do it however you want, but I just want, for simplicity, I left it just like this so I can show you. So for looking at this one that only has two wires, this is going to be your license plate light and a ground. Now to locate that, you will need a tester, and I'll show you a quick little tool. You can use the black from the blinkers or plug it into on your bike somewhere where there's a ground, and all you're going to do is take the tester, boop, okay, it's not that wire, it's that wire. That's how you're going to figure that out. Now, the reason why I bring that up is these are the only wires that are actually not marked. They're both black wires, so you're going to have to test that to figure it out. Okay, so now that we talked about the running wire for your license plate light, you're going to hook the white up to that one, just like so, and the other one will be a ground, which I'll probably link all the grounds together when we wire it. Now in this particular example, this is my left blinker line. Now let me show you something crazy. This is the right blinker line. You see how they're the same colors? So this will be on most of your modern Harley Davidsons, especially the M8 models. They use 3 lights. The blue is always going to be a running light. The purple will always be the blinker and the brake light, or your hazards if you throw those on. And the black is always going to be a ground. So in this case, I ran my red, which is my running light. So that's how we want to run it, particularly on ours. So we're going to put the bottom running light to the running lights from the bike, and they will stay on consistently. Now again, I will probably take the other blue line and I will put them together so there's no open lines in this system. The purple is going to be the blinker. Now in this case, purple is my left blinker, so I'm putting my purple line from the Custom Dynamics plate to the purple line from the Harley Davidson on the left side. And again, if you guys need to test this and you're not plugged into anything, grab your tester light, find a ground, and then you're going to put the tester light to the purple with your blinkers running, which I don't have going right now, but I can push the brake for you. And now you can see it turns on. Now on my right blinker side, and again, it doesn't matter which side you decide to use, but just for this example, I have it set up like this. But on my right side, you're going to take the brown line from the Custom Dynamics plate and you're going to run that to the purple on the right blinker wiring harness. That's going to run your lights, and that's going to work perfectly. Again, if you guys want to do slightly different, you can, but as you saw earlier, the running light will be always on the bottom, which is nice for Seth going down the road, and then the left and the right will work as blinkers and brakes. But that's it for the wiring. All right guys, so now that we have our plate all done and I just explained how the wiring is going to work, let's go ahead and show you what I'm doing here. So I'm going to run the wiring like so. It's going to come in here. I'm going to put some basically some double-sided sticky tape pieces in here that I can wire tie to and run it along the top area here. There's a hole here that's not used, and that's where I'm going to pull these out of. So they'll go out just like this and back around. What we're going to do here before we clean up our wiring is I'm going to put these back together. So you're going to take these little brackets that were inside, and the piece that sticks out goes through the fender like so, and you guys will see that it sticks out. Hopefully you remembered which one goes on which side, unlike me, but let me figure it out real quick. So that's the back of the bike, so we need this guy here. And it'll sit like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and get my bolts in here just to get them started so I can take my hands off of it and tighten it in. Okay, so I'm gonna do the exact same thing on the other side and I'll be right back. Okay, so shrink wrap of some sort, just any kind of cover for the wires would be ideal, but if you don't have any and you have some electrical tape, just be methodical with what you do and you'll have a nice wrap. Some people might not like that, but I don't have shrink wrap right now and I'm not going to the store because it's late. We're gonna just finish what we got. Now it's time to put the fender back on. I already went and buttoned up all my wiring, made it look nice under there. I'm gonna take my 4 bolts that I left in here so that I didn't lose them. It'll sit on those ridges and help you line it up. Right here, see how there's a little area that's not filled in? It's kind of got like an indent. If you look at the mounts, there's 2 ridges. Hold it. You have a ridge here and a ridge here. What you're gonna wanna do is line up that gap with that spot and then go down. So you'll go right here, go down, and now you go forward. And you slide it forward. And it'll help you get you the right angle. Hopefully that makes sense. Got it? And then you're just gonna slide it up into place. Boom, he's got a bike again. All right, let me get these 4 bolts in and we'll move on to the next. All right guys, that's about it. So now I'm just gonna go ahead and solder the wires to the stock wiring harness the way I described earlier in the video and get everything finished up with this install. Came out pretty good. Now I've done wiring in the past many times, but this is my first time soldering. I wanted to step up my game and I'm pretty happy with how everything came out. I did go back and clean up this ground wire that you're seeing. I didn't like it the first time and I think it came out better the second time around. Let's go ahead and take a look. Running light works. Brake lights, that's the front brake, rear brake, both of them work. Right blinker, left blinker are hazards. Right blinker with the brakes, left blinker with the brakes. There we go. And that's that. We'll see you guys on the next one.